What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. We had to talk about Will McDonald at some point. He's literally changing minds left and right. I don't know if we've seen a turnaround like this in just a 1 year time frame. In terms of the expectations that people had up front, having an entire year in the NFL, and then in just 2 games, seeing what he's doing right now, he's literally on a historic pace. And one of the things that I love is kind of taking a peek back behind the curtains and looking at him compared to what you've seen from Jermaine Johnson last year when he had a breakout, compared to looking at Bryce Huff over his tenure with the Jets. And then you have to go back even further to the days of, Calvin Pace, for example, for guys that had any kind of significant level of production out on the edge for the Jets. And realistically, you have to compare him against the line of Hassan Reddick and Bryce Huff as guys that were more of the speed rush prototype. Jermaine Johnson, and looking at guys like TJ Watts and Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett, those are different builds, right? The Jermaine Johnson types where they're using a lot of power to speed conversion, whereas Hassan Reddick, Will McDonald, Bryce Huff, they're using straight pure speed, ridiculous bend, speed to power type moves. And Will McDonald even stands out among that, right? He probably coming into the NFL, he may have had one of the best spin moves of pretty much many players on rosters throughout the NFL. So I'm excited for what he could be. Now, I wasn't a Will McDonald truther. I was a believer in what he can turn into in the NFL, especially when you pay attention to Aaron Whitecotton and the job he's been able to do, churning out not just solid role players, but guys that can make a difference, stars, superstars in the making, and then Pro Bowlers and all pros, right? He's done it all, and he's done it all with various different situations: undrafted free agents, waiver wire additions, first round picks, mid round guys, day 3. So I'm really hyped for what Will McDonald is showing early. And keep in mind, this has all happened in one of the freakiest set of events that can happen, right? Hassan Reddick has a holdout. Jermaine Johnson goes down with a significant injury for the year. Otherwise, we're probably looking at Will McDonald having a very similar season to what he had his rookie year, where he was on the field in minimal snaps over the course of the entire season, and then probably having an impact here or there, right? Will McDonald, though, what I appreciate the most is that many people just kind of took Robert Saleh's words and tossed them to the wind, right? A guy that he's spoken about the fact that he's gotten stronger, his ability to play the run, and really this is what hyped many of us up when we looked into Will McDonald and we dived deeper into his Iowa career, because he does bring a little bit of a sturdier body, a bit of a coming from the Iowa defense that predicates himself on being able to stop the run. More of that mentality to be about being able to play that a little bit more. And then even though it didn't help him out in terms of his pass rush ability in this wide 9 scheme, when they were utilizing him as a 4-eye guy inside and not necessarily giving them the ability to utilize his speed as much as he'd want to, even that helps him out with what we're seeing right now. So you take a look at this this Patriots game he's coming off of: 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 6 pressures, a forced fumble. The crazy piece about this entire thing is he had 184 snaps total in 2023. That was only 19% of all of the defensive snaps. He's already at 100 snaps in 2024 through 3 games. Keep in mind, these last 2 are really the only significant ones to talk about, and that puts him at 53% of the defensive snaps. So obviously, the coaching staff is really buying into and loving what they've seen out of Will McDonald. But when you pair that up, 100 snaps, here's what he's done through 2 games: 12 pressures, which ties him for 6th over this 2-game sample, a 25.6% pressure rate, 2nd. Keep in mind, last year, Micah Parsons led the league with a 21.5% pressure rate. He has 5.5 sacks, which is tied for 1st. TJ Watt led the NFL last year with 19. He's currently on pace to hit 32 sacks, which would be absolutely insane, right? I think the sack record is 22 and a half or 24 and a half, something like that. If Will McDonald cracks 30 in year 2 after not having any kind of significant expectations, this makes this conversation about the Jets, defensive line of the future completely different, right? 14.2 percent sack rate, first. 6 quarterback hits, first. 4 tackles for loss, which implies his ability to also impact the run game, tied for 3rd. I couldn't get more high or excited on what Will McDonald can do going forward. Now, is he going to be picking up 2 and 3 sacks every game moving forward? Not impossible. Highly unlikely, though. But what I will say is, at the very least, you're seeing that nobody has been able to stop him flying off of that edge right now. You can see the bend. You can see his reach even when he's almost run outside of the ring completely. He's been able to get that arm in, touch up that shoulder, and either a quarterback feels that, gets a little worried, tries to tuck, gives him some extra time to go in. Quinnen Williams, Kinlaw, they're barreling in on one side, right? Nonetheless, though, Will McDonald, I think, is absolutely a rising superstar for us right now because realistically, the speed isn't something that's easy to stop, right? This is the equivalent to looking at a Tyreek Hill on offense or an Xavier Worthy, pick any speed guy you want. When you see that on defense, it is a scary thing to behold, especially if it's coming from somebody that's on the defensive line that generally has a little bit more of a bigger build, right? It's not like you're talking about, a Tariq Woolen, right? Freaking nature at his size. You throw Sauce Gardner and the likes in there. This is what is Will McDonald? 240-ish, I want to say now, 235-ish, somewhere in that range, but he's screaming off of the edge, and it's really a sight to behold. The defense is one of the things that we were supposed to be able to hold our heads on, and it looks like it's finally getting turned around. But just kind of thinking ahead, picture this. Jermaine Johnson returns to form next year, still becomes that apex monster that all of us were hoping we'd see this year, and it definitely looked great, right? Then you have Will McDonald. If you figure out Hassan Reddick, you have him as well. If not, still, you've given this entire undrafted free agent squad a year of development. They're getting some additional opportunities and looks. Excuse me. Since we've had injuries, since we've had Hassan Reddick out, and keep in mind that our undrafted free agent class now was a mix of guys that realistically were, 3rd, 4th round quality guys. So we're not just talking about undrafted free agents that realistically probably shouldn't have made it in the NFL or were the rare overlooked type guys. These were actually quality dudes. So let me know what stood out the most for you guys about Will McDonald. For me, if nothing else, I also want to keep in mind, I don't think we've really seen him win most of these reps he's earned the sacks on by virtue of his spin move. These were just him being able to attack the outside shoulder, bend the edge, and get to some of these guys, or he's had a free release and a look. For some of these guys, it's kind of like a free blitzer. But there's still levels to his game that he has the ability to go out there and unlock. So 10 days to rest up for the Jets defense. We'll be getting a chance to see Will McDonald essentially at full speed, 100% health once again. And I'm really hyped for it. So again, let me know what you guys think. And I'll catch you again. Peace.